Introducing characters to the plot that have nothing to do with it makes them fluff. Morden's the only guy necessary, so I could just argue them all away. Compounded with the fact the goal of the plot is never revealed, you kind of wonder what the hell is going on. Even a vague understanding or supposed plan is never told, so collecting people to maybe act as ground soldiers is almost completely mindless. But now that we've looked at all of them, they certainly do have a charm and personality which makes them attractive. But what dramatic elements are essential and what is purely fluff? If we want to look at what represents any real tension between the crew, we could look at the only two crew conflicts, Jack and Miranda, and Tally and Legion. Now I can't reduce Tally and Legion any further, but I can for Miranda and Jack. These two are so similar they should be combined to become Operative Miranda Lawson. Miranda and Jack are both science experiments, both having overly demanding authority figures, and both are generally feared in their own way. This new character would have absolute faith in Cerberus, being a Cerberus test tube baby. During their youth, they were pushed to unlock their superior genetic and biotic potentials. Cerberus would have been all they knew. After they grew up, they naturally rose in ranks in Cerberus operations and gained the loyalty of Tim. Now you might be thinking, but isn't Jack Miranda's foil? Why would we want to make them the same person? Well, not really, since they're side characters. It also makes internal conflicts more potent. That's because their loyalty mission would be about discovering a secret Cerberus base, where yet another test tube Miranda genetic twin was being raised and trained. The experiments were exactly the same to Miranda, but she doesn't seem to remember these, yet is having that creepy feeling she's been here before. We find out her memory was tampered with and a lot of dirty experiments were covered up. This all comes to a close as she confronts Tim, who of course denies everything or was unaware of the inhumane experiments on other children. Miranda then has a greater respect for Shepard, must deal with potentially new memories resurfacing, and gains a brand new view on Cerberus. Also, she wouldn't swear like crazy, hopefully know how to dress, and we could understand what the hell is going on in her head. Another clear problem is the Jacob character. He doesn't seem to be too popular, but for good reason. He's got a whole whack of issues and is generally a Boy Scout who's fed up with the powers that be. In order to deal with this boatload of issues without having a massive interlude, we just combine him with Zaid, and he becomes Zaid the Cerberus mercenary. Zaid would be Miranda's foil, where Miranda's young, brilliant, and completely dedicated. Zaid's older, experienced, and know how the business works. He's got morals, but they're completely on the fence. Being a mercenary all his life, he no longer works just for money, and instead decides to help promote humanity in ways that the Alliance or Council can't. He's not a Boy Scout, and he's not a rebel, but he knows how to get the job done, but not at the expense of life. Essentially, he's Mass Effect's Jolie Bindo, but a
big goddamn heroes.
His loyalty mission would involve tracking down a forgotten Cerberus scientist that was conducting experiments on children. Let's say Miranda. When he was a young punk, he was cocksure and full of himself, but he always knew right from wrong, and that scientist was bad news. After all, he was the one that conducted experiments on him, even killing him and bringing him back, all in the name of progress, at the expense of his right eye. Arriving at that research base, we find that workers have been turned into slaves, as if their memories have been wiped, as if they've been indoctrinated. The things the scientist has been doing were inhumane, and you've got the choice of helping Zaid come to terms with his revenge or freeing the people of their slave-like mind control. And we get the first real Cerberus conflict, Miranda arguing with Zaid over indoctrination experiments done on her, which Zaid may have been aware of. Was the Alliance aware of indoctrination so long ago, as well as the Reapers? How was Cerberus involved in Miranda's development, and what did they do to her? What were they planning to do with Miranda's sister? How many Australians can we get screaming at each other at the same time? And now we come to Samara and Thane. These two are pretty much the same character with almost identical stories, so we combine them and get Samara the Justicar. The exact same story, save that Samara becomes disillusioned with her code because of what happens to the events leading up to Morinth's death. The third oath of subsumation causes her to see things differently, along with her philosophical outlook, or at least to understand Shepard more, and she comes to the realization that the code is not all that it's cracked up to be. She did all this for Morinth, and all it took was one human at the right place at the right time, doing what she could not. Her romance, as well as her faith in the code, could be a more powerful scene, something along the lines of this.
I have felt incomplete, hollow since her loss at Malachor 5. And with your help, perhaps this wound might be healed.
And so it ends.
It is like a hollow place inside me. But when I am with you, the echo dies.
Betrayal. Betrayal.
Mistress?
Or this.
I want to look upon you where no one else can see. Where it is just us. I want to see your face. The color of your skin. I wish to see what the handmaiden sees when she looks at you. That causes her heart to race and her tone to change. What causes her to forsake her heritage, her oaths, as you made me forsake mine.
Or something else. Ultimately, she's still Samara, though having potentially renounced her code, but still wise, caring, and serene, no more confident and less philosophical due to the impact Shepard had on her. After all, if we reduce it, she'd just be a dedicated mom who might kill you for being bad. And now hopefully she'll interrogate others before killing them. And Grunt, yeah, he can just go. Same with Kasumi. So we end up with 7 characters, and that still sounds like too many.